how is it so developed? How is it like every other country? I heard that he saw a lot of dead bodies. Yeah, he saw a lot of dead bodies, especially his friends, which makes him really sad to see his friend die. Hi everyone, I'm the Korean War veteran granddaughter, and I will explain why my grandfather decided to join the Korean War. My grandfather was someone who loved to help people. He always loved to help other people that was in need, and he always was really adventurous. So one day, just suddenly, he saw that the Korea needed help for the war, so he just decided to go and help Korean people. So the position of my grandfather for the Korean War was Sergeant Chief, so he was kind of high-graded. He was fighting in the front for helping South Korea to get out of North Korea. Okay, so the funny fact is that my grandfather went to Korean War and he met my grandmother's father there. Because of Korea, I'm here. And he also told me a lot of stories about Korea when he went to the war. He said it was a really hard war because there was nothing, no building, nothing, no food. So it was really hard, and he felt really sad that Korean was in this situation, so he really wanted to help. But he said that it was really hard and a lot of people died. All his group friends died because of the war. So it was really a shocking moment for him. And when he went back, he was so shocked that he didn't really want to talk about it anymore. I think the hardest point for my grandfather in the Korean Wars was that there was no sleep. No sleep, always fighting, always scared that there is someone who's gonna come and kill you because you don't know, like you're in a house and suddenly it can explode because of North Korea coming and exploding the house. So it was the really hard point is that you always need to be careful and you don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. That was the hardest point, I think, for my grandfather. I heard that he saw a lot of dead bodies. Yeah, he saw a lot of dead bodies, especially his friends, which makes him really sad to see his friend dying in front of him. Of course, it's not something good. And he saw also a lot of Korean dying. So that's why I think it was really hard for him to be in front soldier, a sergeant chief. It was a hard work. I think my grandfather had more of a mental problem after that than physical, because he saw everybody dying in front of him. He had to kill people, which is not something nice, even though it's for helping South Korea. So I think after that he didn't want to talk about it anymore. He wanted us to know that he did the Korean War. Actually, when I came to Korea, I didn't know that he did the Korean War. He didn't tell me, so I had no idea. I just had to tell him that I wanted a scholarship for him to tell me that he did the Korean War. So before that, I didn't know anything about it. He didn't talk anything to my dad, to my grandmother, nothing. 너무 충격받아서 하나도 얘기를 안 했어요. 아빠도 몰랐어요. 제가 한국에 왔을 때 몰랐어요, 전쟁을 했는데. So after I came to Korea, my grandfather didn't know anything about Korea and thought that there was nothing still like the Korean War. He thought there was no buildings, there was no shop, there was nothing. But when he saw that I went to Korea and I showed him the picture of my travel, whoa, what is this? Like, what country is this? He didn't even know that was Korea. So I told him, oh, it's South Korea, the place that you did the Korean War. And he was like, wow, how is it so developed? How is it like every other country? There is nothing before, and he was really shocked about it. It was a picture that I took in Gangnam. Gangnam, there's a lot of like high buildings and offices, so I showed a picture of that, and he was really shocked about Gangnam. My grandfather mostly asked about food because he was wondering how they eat now, because in the Korean War, there was no food, they were starving, so he wanted to ask me, how is the food? Is it like European food, or what kind of food they're eating? So he asked me a lot about that. And also he asked me, how are the Korean now? How do they look? Their style, did they change a lot? Their clothes style? And of course they changed a lot. They were wearing, hanbok and stuff, but now it's like really stylish. So he was really shocked about that too. 할아버지가? A funny thing, my grandfather loved the song 아리랑, so he learned it. And he knew all the song, all the lyrics of 아리랑, and he was always singing it. and he was always telling me to learn it, but I couldn't. I was so bad. But he really loved that 아리랑 song. 저도 깜짝 놀라서 항상 휴대폰에 전화할 때 아리랑 불어 이렇게 아리랑 노래해봐 이렇게 얘기하는 거예요.
아 전화로 불러주셨어요?
네. 근데 제가 못해요. 진짜 못해요. 그래서. After the Korean War, my grandfather was really healthy because he's someone that loves sports. So he was, even though he was like 80, he was going every morning to the sea to swim to make himself like really strong and not feel, you know, unhealthy at all. This is my grandfather. And as you can see, he has 2 medals for the Korean War that he's really proud of. He's really proud. He always wears his uniform because he's really proud of it. So the time that I told my grandfather I was going to Korea to study and live there, actually he was really happy. He was not like, oh no, it's far, don't go, it's dangerous. No, he was super happy for me and he was like, okay, go on. It's a new language, new culture, and he was really happy that I chose the country that he fight for. Okay, so when I told my Korean friends that I was a Korean War veteran, they were really, wow. Like how? Really? Like he really helped us and they were so thankful. There was like, thank you very much. Say thank you to your grandfather. He really helped us. They were really shocked. So thanks to my grandfather, because of my grandfather, now I'm able to have a scholarship, a 6.25 scholarship. It's a full scholarship because my grandfather did the Korean War. And I really feel thankful to Korea to give those kind of opportunity to granddaughter of Korean War veteran. Okay, so today I talk about a Korean War veteran, my grandfather, and I hope you're shocked and I hope you learn a lot of things about the Korean War. Okay, if you like this video, please subscribe and like this video.